Not once did Jeff Horn say to me in the corner, hey, I've had enough, whatever. You know, we were focused all the way through that fight, and we knew we were still in it. He knew he was still in the fight. And he asked me how many rounds to go, and he just knew he just had to, and I was just trying to lift him a gear. And I thought, do I lift him now? Do I wait another round? And really lift it and really put some pressure on Terrence Crawford and just start banging him a bit and just see how big his heart really is. But just a shame we couldn't just land a couple of real big shots on him and just see how it could have changed the fight. We all know in boxing, one punch can change a fight.
I also went into Terrence Crawford's dressing room just to shake his hand and tell him how gracious I thought he was in the ring afterwards. And, you know, he said, would love to come to Australia. I said, to fight? He said, yeah, man, make it happen. Get us the money. Who knows? Who knows?
Hey, Glenn, how do you go about bringing Jeff back from a loss? This is uncharted territory for you guys. How do you go about rebuilding him now?
Well, one of my favourite sayings is, you know, if you're not strong enough to fail, you're too weak to succeed. Okay? If you can't handle a loss in life, we're all going to have losses, financial losses, we're going to have relationship breakdowns, we're all going to suffer, you know, defeat in life at some point. And you've got to be able to bounce back from that. You've got choices. You can either retire, or you can be like Evander Holyfield said when he lost. What are you going to do? You're going to give it away? No, I'm going to get back in line. So like Evander, we're going to get back in line. You know, we're going to get back in line and we're going to rise and we're going to come back bigger and stronger. You know, that's the way it is. You've got the choices: run, hide, crawl inside a whiskey bottle, give it away, wonder what you could have done, or just man up, toughen up, harden up. You know, that's what it's all about. That's what Jeff's spirit's all about. That's the way I've taught him, is, you know, just to keep getting back up, and he will do that. Have no doubt whatsoever that Jeff will come back bigger and stronger than ever.
How you said Terrence has basically said, get me the money, get me to Australia. I mean, how realistic is that? I know you got money there, so it's always realistic, but
Put it this way, we can put on a Manny Pacquiao Jeff Horn fight, we can put on a Terrence Crawford Jeff Horn fight down in Australia, but there's more than, you know, to actually sort of ask that question straight after a fight, and everyone's sort of fired up and what have you, there's a lot of things have to take place. You know, Bob Arum is a major contributor to what's going to happen next too. So, you know, and it comes down to what's the best option for Terrence Crawford. You know, if Glenn tells me he wants to have a rematch, then I'll work my ass off to make sure that, or I try and make that happen. And, you know, Bob's going to be looking around saying, well, what are the options for us? What's the most amount of money? And what do I want to try and achieve? And what does Terrence Crawford want to try and achieve? So I think incredibly gracious of Terrence to be talking the way he is. And, you know, we're very, very thankful for it. And it's something we'll definitely pursue. So let's just wait and see. But I think there's a myriad of options out there. You know, there's some great welterweight fights happening, and for me personally, and this is just my opinion, the big money fights are going to happen at welterweight over the next sort of 3 to 5 years. I think there's a myriad of just great fighters out there, and the welterweight division's about to catch on fire. And who knows, you know, there's 5 or 6 fighters that could be just doing round-robin tournaments on a regular basis, and that's what the game needs right now to get some superstars in America, because right now there's only, you know, there's 2 on the rise. One of them's Terrence Crawford, the other one's Vasily Lomachenko, but the real superstar right now is Canelo Alvarez. And we need 3 or 4 or 5 fighters up in the rear fight here that he maintains from a revenue generation point of view. And I think the welterweight division is the hottest division in America right now, and that's where we want to be.
Just one thing on that, by the way, is I did say to Dean originally when he mentioned this fight, I would dearly have rather have fought Terrence Crawford in Australia. Just all those little bits, you know, the jet lag, all that sort of stuff. I wanted to fight him there, but unfortunately Terrence's brand wasn't big enough, and Dean said, we just can't make this fight pay in Australia. That's the problem. He said he doesn't yet have, he's a great fighter, but he just doesn't have the pulling power. He's not a Manny Pacquiao. People don't know him. As he mentioned, he doesn't talk a lot in the media, which is a shame, because if we would have had the fight in Australia, if we could have filled Suncorp Stadium with Terrence Crawford, but the danger was that we bring him down there and lose a heap of money. So that was the problem. But we really wanted to have the fight in Australia, because after all, when you're the champion, you think, hang on, why am I going over into his backyard to fight, you know, if I don't have to? But, you know, it is what it is, and, you know, in the end we have to come over here.
Having said that, thank you to the Australian media who come over here. You know, we had upwards of 30 guys here by the end of the fight. And due to the efforts you guys have put in, Terrence Crawford is definitely a much bigger brand name in Australia than he was only 2-3 weeks ago. So, potentially that would be an absolute reality, because I think there'd be very few Australians right now who don't know who he is, and more importantly, don't know how good he is. Like, that's one hell of a fighter, and you guys have done an amazing job over the last week in particular, and the 6 and 7 weeks leading up, so if he's keen, we'd love to have a chat about it.
You mentioned all those great fighters in the welterweight division, but you almost need to be fighting in America to make yourself.
It's about money, Rito, to be bluntly honest, and if we can put the most money on the table, we'll make the fights happen. That's why we got the Pacquiao fight. Bob didn't come down, the Pacquiao didn't come down to Australia and Queensland and Brisbane because they liked us. They came down because we put the most amount of money on the table. And if we think we can draw a big enough crowd and we can get global exposure for Brisbane and for Queensland, we will put up the most amount of money and we will make the big fights happen.
How marketable would a rematch be?
I think massively so. I think, we talked about this, Glenn just touched on it, I touched on it before. It's a shame Terrence doesn't talk to the media more, because he's actually really good when he does it. And I think he's got a hell of a story to tell. I've read a couple of articles about stuff he's done in Rwanda, read some articles about how he's a great father. He's obviously a great boxer and he actually loves fishing. So the guy's got some stories to tell. I just think he's very wary of the media for whatever reason. But I think if he could perform regularly in the media, because I actually think he's good at it, I think he'd become a superstar very, very quickly, because he's one hell of a fighter, and like I said, he's heading to the Hall of Fame, so the more he talks, the more money he's going to make. And I do think if he wanted to, we could raise the money to make it happen. But there's a lot of will has to go into it, from one, Bob Arum, and two, Terrence Crawford and Bomac, because I'm pretty sure the will will be on Glenn and Jeff's side, and certainly from mine anyway, as well.
Dino, if that, Crawford's obviously got a profile in Australia now because of what's happened this week, but blokes like Thurman and Porter and those guys, they don't particularly have one over there.
You go back to the same problem, Rito.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, Terrence Crawford is probably the third most recognised fighter in Australia right now in this welterweight division. First to be Jeff Horn, second to be Manny Pacquiao, and now you've got Terrence Crawford. So we've built, and let's be honest, this is the business of sport, Too often you look at all the things around and it's sport, but this is pure business. And with the amount of brand equity we've built around Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn, I think it'll be very easy to put a rematch together. And Australians love to back their own, and Australians love to back an underdog, and the Australians most importantly love to back a battler and a guy who's got the potential to win. And Jeff Horn's all of those things. So if Jeff was up for it, and Glenn was up for it, and the Queensland State Government was up for it, and Brisbane City Marketing were up for it, and I think they would be, and Terrence Crawford was up for it, I'm sure we can make it happen. It just comes down to one thing, mate. Where's the most amount of money? And that's what it's all about.
The reason I was saying that was those other guys don't have that profile, so bringing them to Australia is
Correct.
not as lucrative.
So Crawford would be, of all the welterweights out there right now, he might even be more marketable in Australia than Manny Pacquiao, simply because he is a current WBO champ who just beat an Australian WBO champion. So I think of all the welterweights in the world right now, Terrence Crawford is by far the most marketable in Australia. It just comes down to, can it be made to work dollars and cents? And as Glenn said earlier on, love to have the fight in Australia, but I just looked at him and said, mate, unfortunately Australia, no one knows who Terrence Crawford is. We know he's a great fighter, but that's for boxing fans. And to make it work in Australia, you've got to have general sports fans. And I've got no doubt that right now, you guys were fighting 2 and 3 times a day. We were seeing stuff going to the 6 o'clock news at the top of hour and the sports hour. So all of a sudden, Terrence has got a very good profile down there, and he beat a real Aussie battler. So I think it could be doable.
What I was getting at though, Danny, was if you can't get Crawford there, and you want to fight the big fights in the welterweight division, you'll have to fight them in America, will you not?
Well, not necessarily. It comes down to how much the other fights command. If you have a look around the welterweight division, it's not the massive money it was once upon a time. It's as simple as that. There's only one superstar in America that makes massive money right now, and that's Canelo Alvarez. So things are doable, Rito. It just comes down to at what rate.
Keep this rolling.
Yeah, I know you're just trying to keep things interesting. I'll do my best to entertain you. I might tell a joke or two.
There's no stand-up comedy here, Grantley.
No. Can we raise the prospect of what it might cost to bring Terrence Crawford to Australia, based on what he got here?
Oh, look, the answer is I don't know, because market values change on a regular basis, and maybe someone else comes in from America and says, oh, we want to fight Terrence and we're going to put up this much, or maybe Bob's got some other ideas. Yeah. It's one of those things that these fight negotiations, you can get into them. If you have a look at, say, Mayweather Pacquiao, that fight took 5 years to make, maybe longer. So the answer is who knows. But one thing I can tell you is Jeff Horn's going to be fighting in November or December. It may be indoors, it may be outdoors, and you know, it might be sooner than that. I just got to talk to Jeff and Glenn and see what they want. Jeff's on a holiday for the next week or 2 weeks, I believe, and then we'll have a serious discussion after that.
Conceivably, could you get him another of the champions by then?
Why
Or
not?
would you not want to do that?
Well, look, it comes. These guys told me from day one, we want the big fights. You know, I don't. While there's no doubt Jeff Horn got beaten tonight, right? I don't think he was overly outclassed that you wouldn't put him in the ring again with Crawford. And on that basis, given how good Terrence Crawford is, you wouldn't put him in the ring with any of the other welterweights. You know, don't forget you've got Garcia and Porter going ahead soon. Vargas and Broner, you know, Thurman would be a perfect fight, but he just seems to be scared of everyone at the moment. Won't take anyone who's got, you know, won't take anyone who's a risk. He just wants to get his shoulder right. Jeff does promise to come.